scrolling through your messages.
Oh.
Carmen was hot.
Carmen was very
Carmen
hot.
was hot. Carmen was hot.
Although looking back, like you can't watch it and be like, she's still hot because she's
Yes.
a child, and now you're no longer a child like you were back.
Yes.
But back in the day.
That's a great way to start off.
Yeah.
Video. Maybe we should not start it off this way.
Maybe we should not start it off this way. We'll see.
Apparently, it was released that the kids on Ned's Declassified.
Yes.
Was all fucking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
And by that I mean Ned and the girl.
You know, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either.
Anyway, welcome everybody.
Welcome
to the Cine-Scoots podcast.
Holiday special episode. Yes.
Kind of. Yeah. It's a rare
something new
holiday special, but also part of our normal new releases.
Does
this podcast get the Christmas theme intro?
I think it should.
Okay. All right. Fair. Yeah. So we're here to talk about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. A movie 16 years in the making.
And based on an underrated holiday.
Sure.
Yeah.
The meaning behind it, less so than the actual festivity.
Give a fuck about the meaning behind it. Oh. Yeah. Just say thank you and eat your turkey.
Yeah. Have you ever actually had to sit through, like...
What are you thankful for?
We'll go around the table and say what you're thankful for.
Fuck no.
Dude, we used to have to do that back when I was younger.
Oh, no?
It was painful.
Oh, no.
It was atrocious, dude.
I'm sorry, my friend.
Yeah, I am sorry, too.
We just talked like a normal family.
You know, I will say this. This was not because of my immediate family.
Yeah.
It was like when we would go to like friends, like family friends' houses.
Yeah.
And it was always there.
Yeah.
And it was awful. It sucked. Anyway, you know what doesn't suck though?
This movie.
This movie is actually pretty solid.
This movie was a good time.
So I believe you were not familiar with where this came from, right?
Correct.
So you know more or less the story behind it, I think.
Yeah.
So this was part originally of the Grindhouse double feature.
I had never seen Grindhouse.
It's a good time.
I used to love Machete. And I probably still love Machete.
Machete don't text. Machete learns. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Grindhouse came out, and there was a double feature with Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. Then there was an intermission with some trailers thrown in there, and then there was Death Proof by Quentin Tarantino. How
many trailers were there for Thanksgiving? Like was that clip that we saw of the Thanksgiving trailer?
Yes.
Was that all unedited? Like, was it just like all those trailers put together, or did they appear like? You know what I'm saying?
So it was that whole trailer.
Yeah.
And then followed by another whole trailer.
Gotcha.
Followed by another whole trailer.
Gotcha.
I remember. I don't think Hobo with a Shotgun was one of them. I remember hearing it was, but I remember. I know Werewolf Women of the SS was a trailer directed by Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Machete was on there. Thanksgiving. And maybe Hobo with a Shotgun, honestly. I cannot remember.
Yeah.
But like we've gotten 2 out of those movies already. Machete. And then this one. Well, Machete got a sequel.
Yeah.
So like that already is kind of what I do want to talk about a little bit later about these movies. But I do find it kind of fascinating that this movie's been in development for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until like post-pandemic that we finally got an answer.
So I don't remember if I knew it was a Grindhouse thing until either after we saw it in the theater or when you sent me the trailer. But when I was watching the opening scene, which we'll get to, momentarily, no spoilers yet, but like, I was like, this movie would have been perfect like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
In terms of how it handles the day after Thanksgiving.
And yeah, but I will say, I think even maybe a little bit less so post-pandemic where people have kind of toned that shit down a bit.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like that for a long time. How many times would you hear or read like news reports the day after?
People getting trampled.
People got trampled. People got like hella hurt.
Yeah.
So like, I still think it's applicable to today's culture.
Where would your family have Thanksgiving? By the way, let me ask this question.
Oh, I would say we never really hosted it at our parents' house.
Yeah,
It was always either at my mom's friend's Wanda's house, and then she moved to Puerto Rico, and then we started going to my uncle's house.
yeah, yeah.
That was about it. And then we would go to like Katie's brother's house.
So we would often host in this very basement for
Ooh.
our wonderful studio. But like every year for like years, like the basic topics of conversation were world events,
Okay.
the continuing encroachment of Thanksgiving and like or not the continuing encroachment of like Christmas and Black Friday on Thanksgiving, and every year they will talk about how like shit got earlier and earlier. And I
Yeah.
remember the first year where they started like opening the stores on Thanksgiving night, and we all thought that was a travesty, which it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because like this was very much a phenomenon of like 2013 at the latest. Cool to
Yeah.
see now.
I do remember, like, this was like when we were in college going to Katie's brother's house
Yeah.
and sitting there going, hey, you can buy all these deals without having to go to the store. Because store opens at 6 p.m. and so the deals have to be online too.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time.
Crazy time.
But speaking about this movie, so it's actually a pretty straightforward movie. So there's the inciting incident is this like big riot at Black Friday.
Yeah.
Then
Beautiful scene.
we have it's a pretty solid scene. Then we shoot forward a year.
Yeah.
And then people be getting killed, homie.
People be getting killed.
And so
in response.
In response.
It's
so
the
what
Osama
are your
bin Laden letter?
what are your initial thoughts on this movie? Like you went in, you showed up. What were your thoughts?
I was expecting the slasher flick. I was expecting primarily to like lol. I mean, I didn't expect it to be straight up comedy, but like when it's titled Thanksgiving, you're like, okay, like this is like this isn't going to be taking itself near 100% seriously.
Yeah.
Right. So I expected something gruesome. I expected something funny. I like. I was surprised as to like how I don't know if experimental is even the right word, but like from that beginning you get like Dawn of the Dead vibes, right?
Yeah.
Like the zombie crowd. You even got like a little bit of like Halloween vibes from like the first person, like the opening shot is a first person like point of view of someone like coming to a house to like to open the door, and it's a slasher movie, so it's like, oh, like, haha, it's playing on Halloween. Oh, and then you realize, oh, Halloween's called Halloween. This movie's called Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right, and then of course it goes slasher as well. So I was pleasantly surprised with how like versatile this movie tried to play it. So overall, like, solid time.
Yeah,
Solid
I
time.
think it's I'm hopeful that this kind of is able to branch out in the same way that like a Scream and the Halloween did, because I do like the design of like the villain. It's very simple.
Very simple and effective.
But it's very effective. Like just that creepy ass mask.
Yeah.
The silly pilgrim hat and an axe.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have a killer who's primarily axe. Like when you think of killers, right?
Yeah.
Michael Myers, you have your butcher's knife.
Yes.
When you have Scream, you have the flaying knife, right? Leatherface got the chainsaw. Yeah. Like no one really uses.
Jason's got a machete, right?
Machete for Jason.
Yeah.
So I like the axe. Yeah. The axe is cool. It looks scary.
It looks appropriate to the time, right?
Appropriate to the time, absolutely. And I also think that this movie works because like it takes itself seriously as much as it needs to.
Yes.
Like it knows it's silly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't play into the joke like let's be super silly. It's like this can still be goofy while still being serious within the world of it.
In silliness, I feel like it's just like maybe a degree below Scream. I don't know where I would put the two in comparison.
It never gets as meta as Scream.
Never as meta for sure. But like, there's these like high school characters that we like kind of follow.
They all kind of suck.
They all kind of suck. There's like they're all in a car on the way to Black Friday, and like the rival school is called Hanover, and they're like, "Fuck Hanover, fuck Hanover," and it feels like that chant just goes on for like 2 minutes. It's probably lower.
It feels a little Evil Dies Tonight.
feels a little Evil Dies Tonight, right? But like, the difference between Evil Dies Tonight and this movie is like Evil Dies Tonight took itself 1,000% too serious.
Too
Like
seriously.
that movie thought it had something to say. This movie knows it has nothing to say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is fine.
Kind of what Thanksgiving is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thankful for this food.
Yeah.
Like nothing
maybe
to say.
maybe back in the 90s, people would try to be like, "There's a message here."
Nope, there doesn't.
But
need
not
to be.
anymore.
There doesn't need to be. Yeah, Thanksgiving is simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this movie fit that bill.
I liked it. Before we get into like the beats of the movie, are there any negatives that you have on it?
I like the kills. I think the production value of the kills could have been just like a bit more crisp.
Okay.
I like our main character. I don't love our main character.
Yeah, that's if I have a negative. I'm not sure about the production value portion of it because like there's something about the practicality of the movie.
Yeah,
like
works.
all the kills, from what I could tell, look practical.
They're gross,
and they're gross, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But man, like there's no one here except for I think Patrick Dempsey,
which is ironic.
Yeah, who I feel like
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, because like I'm just watching these people and I'm like, man, but I'm not Jess kind of sucks.
But I'm not even rooting for the Pilgrim to kill everybody. It's not
kind of It kind of was. It's one of those movies like a lot of the times you watch like a Halloween and you want Michael Myers to just kill everybody.
Yeah,
I feel like that was how I felt during Halloween Kills.
Yeah,
I was like, I just want him to kill everybody. Maybe leave Andy, what's his name, Andy Bachicas or whatever her name is, and leave Laurie alone. But everybody else can go.
Yeah.
But in this movie, there's no one that I felt did not have it coming 100%.
Yeah.
The friends, like, kind of to a certain extent.
They suck, but they don't suck that much. I don't think the main character sucks.
She's just kind of blah.
And like not very. She doesn't show off like ingenuity until like maybe the end in a couple scenes.
Yeah, I mean when she figures out like the whodunit portion of it, like that's I feel like kind of smart.
Which I will say, I didn't take this as a knock against the movie, but like you can pretty much narrow it down to who the killer is between two people very early on.
Yeah,
and then I figured out who the killer was early-ish.
I want to say I had it kind of pegged from the intro,
and like. I'm not usually good at those things, so if I can figure it out, then like
the sleuths can figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. I found it interesting that this movie leaned into like how do I say this? So like it leans into like the tropes of all the slasher movies and all the whodunits. But it still doesn't do it in a way that you feel bored.
No.
Which can also be a problem. Like when you have a formula, right? Which is, I mean, this is what this is, right? It's a formulaic slasher movie. You have your inciting incident at the beginning that then sets your killer on to like hunt these people down. Yep. But like the whole time, I felt like everything was making sense and it felt fun.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I will say. Like Eli Roth, say what you will about him as a director. When he's having fun,
he's having fun.
Like he's having fun.
I'm not really familiar with a lot of his work.
You would not like it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think it moves fast enough.
It's an hour and like 40 minutes, and it does not feel an hour 40 minutes. It honestly feels like a tight 90-minute movie, but that's all it needs. I do think the third act goes on a little long.
I agree.
It loses some of the momentum, but not enough for me to. I think it nails the ending enough that I'm okay with that little meandering towards like the beginning of Act 3.
I agree.
Let's get into some of the deets.
Woot.
So our intro scene is like your stereotypical Black Friday Fox News segment of shit. They broke the doors and they trampled people. And that is what happens.
And they're really playing it up.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where they were like 10 minutes to open, and they say it at least like 3 times. And you caught it after the second. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
And you know one thing that I found was funny? Nobody in the movie itself points out, "Hey man, you said 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago." That's what I was waiting for. In a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't.
I am too.
But I don't know. I think it does a pretty solid job at like building that tension in that scene because you know
it looks like a throng of people.
It's a lot of people, and you know, like some people like who may have never gone Black Friday shopping will watch that and go, "It doesn't seem right. That seems fake."
Yeah.
But I've been to some Black Friday shoppings, and not unruly, but it's big crowds.
Yeah.
And then you watch videos of like big cities,
right?
And it does get that bad.
Yeah.
And that's where you have problems.
Yeah.
But I do like the way that scene kind of plays, like you said, almost like a zombie movie.
Yes.
So these people just like running over each other to get to the piece of meat, but in this case, it's a toaster.
Reminds me. I think it was a fucking waffle iron. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of The Mist for some reason. There was like a shot that just reminded me of The Mist.
There's a I don't know if it's like the shot of just like looking out from the inside of the store that gave me that vibe, or if it's a shot that's from the outside looking in. But I mean, yeah, when you set it into a big, store, it'll give you those vibes.
So it's kind of cool that we have those like two, because that scene is like it's not short.
No,
like,
it goes on for a while.
It takes on some time, so that's kind of cool that we have two different subgenres of horror that are like spliced together.
One thing I want to mention before I forget is the awful, super hammy Boston accent. Oh, dude, holy shit! And it's just the townies that have it.
I think I think one thing about this movie that is effective in terms of making you like be okay with the town suffering violence is the fact that it takes place in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this as someone who actually quite enjoys that city, but like its people are just unlikable. As are their accents. So like
it's so jarring.
Yeah.
What does she say? Like, unlike at the start, you have to wave your tongue. It's so off-putting. Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah, this isn't right, Mark. You gotta wait your turn. I didn't bother doing the accent there.
No, it's a tough accent to like put into like words. Yeah, like a southern accent, you can kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I do the play. There are many ways to do
but a Boston accent.
Yeah,
it's so odd to me.
I'm from Worcester. I'm from Worcester.
But yeah, so this is where we get kind of like our reason for this, and this is where you kind of start to figure out like, okay, who has reason
to be the killer?
To be the killer.
Yeah.
What I don't think the movie does great is giving you a lot of red herrings. So I one of the questions that I put on the thing to kind of like help us was are the red herrings good? And I would say no.
No.
There's really no.
Yeah.
You never really feel like there's someone who might be it, but isn't it?
Right.
Like the closer you get is maybe like the ex-boyfriend and the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But then they're gone for half the movie.
They are, and in the ex-boyfriend, and like you just always see him being like
weird
but nice. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like he kind of like sneaks into town, and then he's around.
Whereas the current boyfriend is kind of an asshole, so you're like, okay, he's a
and also the ex-boyfriend is so fucking short.
Yeah,
and then the killer is tallish. You're like, there's no fucking way.
Well, there was like, and then I was like, what about the dad who's like a manager of Right Mart? And then I was like, but his build is not at all.
You suspected the dad at some point?
Well, I'm going through my scene. I'm like, hey, what was the fucking point of this like prologue scene, right? Yeah. Someone from here's got to be it. And it's not that I suspected the dad, but he would have reason. But you're like, yeah, but the physique is not.
Yeah, that is a slender killer.
Yeah,
that is a very slender killer. It's definitely a dude.
Yeah. Do we know if Patrick Dempsey was playing the killer?
I don't know, but
spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah, spoilers.
Because I would even say like his build is not.
I don't know. Maybe they do a lot of close-ups on him. I don't really think we get a full like wide body shot of him a lot.
Yeah.
And also, like, he's usually wearing
It's like bomber jacket.
his bomber jacket,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know how thin he is under that.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, Patrick Dempsey
He's the killer.
is a killer.
Exactly.
His motive is that at the Black Friday event, his sister-in-law gets killed, but he loved his sister-in-law. She was preggers with his baby.
He put a son in her.
He did. He basted that turkey.
Yep.
And that's what sets it off. And he is going down the list one by one.
Yep.
And I will say, when the first, so all right, so any of the kills that happened at the store at the Right Mart, they didn't feel like super gruesome. They were kind of,
they were more comical.
They were comic. The guy who like walks into the glass and slits his own throat.
Yeah.
The lady who gets the sister-in-law who gets her hair caught in
the thing, and then it like tears off part of her head.
Yeah, right. The one guy who gets trampled by the mob, he just gets stomped. I don't think they even show any.
Right. Is someone in the store? Do they fall on like broken glass, and then does that like just cut them all up? I can't remember.
It's the guy who the door falls on him.
Yeah.
The black dude, Doug, I think is his name. So like watching that, I didn't know exactly how hard that they were going to go.
Right, for the rest of the movie.
For the rest of the movie, and that first kill,
yeah,
sets you up.
It's something. It's creative.
So I know that you and I have very very different ideas of what fun gore is because you don't really love it.
I enjoyed this gore though.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, the first kill is the lady with the awful Boston accent.
And you think it's going to be a drowning.
Yeah. Or you think it's going to have to do something with her, like, being in the freezer, and then maybe, like, you get creative and you shatter her or something.
Right.
No, she just jumps into a dumpster, and then the lid falls and, like, slides her in half. And it's so abrupt.
Well, before that, though, I have to say, I enjoyed shoving her face in the. I enjoyed the concept of like shoving someone's face in like the water.
Found the sociopath over here.
Then putting them in the freezer door, like
getting her caught.
Yeah, but then the silliness of like the dumpster being the killer.
I want to say the reason why they decided not to do that is because it's too reminiscent of Jason X.
Which I've never seen.
No, so one of the most famous kills, like of all time, it's from Jason X. He takes a woman, dunks her head in liquid nitrogen, and then smashes.
It shatters it.
And I feel like that's the reason why he didn't go. Let's do the ice. Stick her in the freezer and then do that.
Yeah.
But then it also leads you to like extending that scene a little bit longer, having her be chased, go outside, and then have her. Be chased with the car, which leads to the payoff of the kill.
Yeah.
And then it also then gives the killer a reason to still have the top half of the body.
Right.
Because he starts to set him up, which I thought was a cool visual. Him having the dinner table.
Yeah.
And then that be this like looming threat for all the people that he's going after.
Yeah.
What's the next kill after this?
Dude, I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
It's the cat guy.
Is the cat guy?
Yeah, he's the security guard who runs away.
Yeah.
He goes into the house, and it's just this big cat, which, by the way, I found out.
Oh, yes, I remember.
I found out over the weekend that this cat is the same cat actor from the movie Pet Sematary. It's
a famous cat.
It's a famous cat.
Famous cat.
And I laughed so hard when after he does this awful kill.
Yeah.
He turns and he sees the cat, and the cat is like, "Please feed me."
And he feeds the
cat.
He
feeds the kitty.
Yeah.
Good for him. So that's our first two, and this is where like a group of high schoolers start to kind of realize like we are on this
invited
list.
To this dinner party.
I was actually surprised by how like the kills are there, but there's actually not necessarily like that many.
Because after cat guy, and then cheerleader, another guy.
I believe those were the next kills.
Right. But then it's just a whole group that are at the kill palace.
Yeah, so we have the guy from Hanover, who is this weird, like...
Fuck Hanover!
Yeah, he's weird. He's like your Chad.
He a coach?
No, but he feels like the guy who thinks he's in charge of the team, and
Okay.
because when he leaves, everybody laughs at him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, good form. Make sure you bend your elbows. And people are like, all right, whatever you want, Lonnie.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and they all just like break out laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was like built into the scene, but to me, it felt very like breaking character because they just could not handle how silly it was.
Right.
But that leads into the scene, which is like the famous scene from the trailer, which is a trampoline.
Yeah.
Which
to think about the production of that trailer, like as just being a trailer before this movie came out, and you're like, he just had this idea of like a fucking trampoline kill and was like, where the fuck do I put this? Thanksgiving movie, I suppose.
it's gotta be odd, right? Because like when you make a trailer, you don't have to worry about story.
Right.
You can just be like fun set pieces, and snippets, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like we got a cheerleader and a trampoline.
Yeah.
She's got to do some hot stuff.
Yep.
And then she's got to get got.
Yep.
Right. And by the way, kudos to Eli Roth for character growth.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity in that trailer.
In that trailer, you got full on
right
nudie stuff. And the fact that he did not do that in the movie, which he could have, honestly, it's an R-rated movie.
Yeah,
you can get away with that.
Yeah,
and the fact that he didn't,
yeah,
honestly, good for him.
Well, we've evolved as a society, as a species.
Because if you watch any of his other movies, like he is not one to like be like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, and so good for him. Where I think the movie kind of loses a little bit of steam is after that. They gather everybody else.
Right.
They're at this like abandoned house. We do have a pretty tense scene where Kathleen, who's our main character's stepmom, Jessica.
Yeah.
When she gets
abducted, roasted, right?
Yeah, she's getting abducted.
And then I'm watching that scene, and it's basically cooking her like a turkey, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching that, I'm like, where the fuck is everybody else?
They're all sitting around that table.
Because she's like kind of a bitch stepmom, but like it lingers on her for like a while.
It does. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we do have a pretty solid scene at the parade, which again is from the trailer.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I thought that scene was pretty cool, where they're trying to bait
the killer
out.
Yeah.
I think that one kind of solidifies Patrick Dempsey as the killer. Because he's supposed to be there. He's just gone.
Right.
And you're like, there is zero reason why.
I think at that point it's clear you can see like, they have not been in the same room with each other.
Yeah, for sure. It's the parade float, and he throws like smoke bombs.
All dressed as like a killer clown.
Yeah, he decapitates a turkey.
Yep.
And this is where we get that really nasty shot of the bow of the ship coming through the back and just like coming through a guy's face, and his little kids are like.
I forgot about that.
Great practical effects on that, by the way, and it lingers on it. You see like all the rubber. But that's how they get kidnapped, because they get kidnapped by the killer in the car.
Yeah.
I like how there's just a random like Russian girl too.
Yeah.
Who gets killed with a corn in the ears.
Yeah.
But like I said, like with the Kathleen kill, I thought that scene kind of goes on a little too long.
I agree. It's very like, it does a good job of like making that kill seem hella unpleasant.
Yeah.
Like as I was like looking at the environment around her, I'm like, fuck, this would be excruciating.
Being cooked alive?
Yeah, on the metal oven. Yeah.
It cannot feel good. I think as far as like all the kills go, I feel like hers feels the meanest.
Yes.
Which is something that Eli Roth has been, I don't want to say blamed for. A lot of his movies do come across as very mean-spirited.
I could see I could see people reading this movie as misogynistic. For that scene. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying I could see people making that argument for this, like...
Interesting.
For this thing. It's very degrading, like... What they do to her on the table afterwards is like... It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Yeah.
Which, by the way, so he does bake her in this oven,
Right.
but then when he goes to like set her on the table like a turkey,
Yeah.
my whole thought process during that was, wait, when she was cooked already, does that mean that when you have to like put her in the shape of the turkey, then you have to like rebake her again to get that shape to stay? I was thinking
Oh, no, you just use
of
rope.
like a whole bunch of different
Yeah,
logistics here.
you just use twine. It's fine.
um, then we do get our two survivors of the core group plus the dad. The dad survives. But we have Scuba or Scooby.
Yeah.
And Jessica survived.
I thought it was Scuba, but fun fact about him, I thought he came like out of nowhere as like the second, like
oh yeah, I had no. It's so odd because like you could have had the boyfriend be like the second lead.
Yeah.
You could have had the ex-boyfriend be like the second
guy,
lead.
any of the other girls.
The jock guy could have had some character growth.
Yeah.
But no, fucking Scooby comes in out of nowhere.
First of all, he's got a weird body. There was something about that actor's like neck to shoulder ratio that I just found strange.
I think of all these 20-year-old teenagers, he's the only one to me that looked 40.
Wait, we're forgetting something very important.
Yeah.
Okay. They get a gun. From this character, who I would say like does not fit in. I mean, I get where they fit in plot wise, but there's this like character who like is throwing like parties where he's selling like underage alcohol.
Yeah, he's like an adult.
Yeah,
who just hangs out with a bunch of teenagers,
and he solely exists so that they can get a gun.
A gun,
like one pistol.
That's it.
And I'm watching that. I'm like, and now that I saw this trailer, like from the Grindhouse, I was like, this character just had to exist in a different concept that like Eli Roth wasn't able to like do anything with yet. It just like fucking shoves him in this.
Yeah,
he does not fit into the movie.
He does not. No, he does not fit in.
But so much so that I literally forgot.
He's a weird character because he's just like a random like 40-year-old loser hanging out with a bunch of kids.
He's got some intrigue, like those parties, like they look dope.
They sell tickets to the party. It's such a weird choice. I didn't mind him. The character actually kind of grew on me a little bit. He
just doesn't fit in the movie.
He seems like he's kind of a chill guy at the end.
What's the other jock friend? The one who plays football.
Oh man, what is his name?
When they canceled the game between Plymouth and Hanover. Oh, dude, no, I'm gonna go play.
No, not Bobby. Holy shit, what is his name? Evan. He's like, I'm gonna go and play the game, and then you can't play without the other team, dumbass. Oh. Such a good line.
Oh, absolutely.
I did a full-on belly laugh at that. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing. I think
he felt like he was out of bottoms.
Yes.
He felt pulled right out of bottoms. Yeah.
And the thing about Eli Roth in his movies is there's something weirdly funny in his movies. Mm-hmm. Even though you're watching some of like the nastiest, weirdest shit. And it's these little like weird character beats that just kind of, I don't want to say lighten the mood, because how the hell do you lighten?
Well, I think that's what we were kind of the thing that works with this movie is the point to which it takes itself seriously is like cranked to a certain level that's A, hard to describe, B, just like not a lot of like other people do. Like for example, like rewatch Bottoms, you could tell that like right away that like, this universe is completely
not real. This is not a serious place.
And this universe here in this movie is not real, but it's also like kind of real, right? It's a weird thread that works.
The guy's name was Scuba.
It was Scuba, yeah. It was Scuba. It wasn't Scooby. And then they explained how he gets his name, and I was like, I don't get it.
So what's your name? It's this. What's your first name? It's this.
Yeah.
Why do they call you Scuba?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
His name is just so stupid.
Yeah.
They give him a nickname, but it doesn't make... It's for the joke. It's for the joke. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Right. Whatever. He almost gets away. The killer almost gets away by kind of framing the ex-boyfriend, right?
Right.
Which we find out like he did have him kidnapped, but then he like bonked him in the head.
Yeah.
And he ran into the building, which then the girl like said, "Oh, he's in there."
Right.
And he is only caught because the girl finds the cell phone and also notices that he's got
the dirt on his
weird.
shoes.
It's
Yeah.
not even dirt. It's the little plants that stick to your
Oh
pants,
yeah.
and because she had some on her feet.
It made me wonder what that shot was for. When there's a shot of them running
Yeah,
through. Yeah.
yeah,
And I
and
was like, this is fucking barbed wire, and then yeah.
it's a good, it's a good payoff to him telling her like keep an eye on these like small details. Like he
Yep.
does say like keep an eye on the small details. It's what's gonna help you catch him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's good that he's still technically a good detective,
Yeah.
which does make him a very effective killer. But at the same time, him giving these tips is what brings him down at the end.
Well, there's that question about like these types of sociopaths and psychopaths is like how many of them actually do like deep down want to get caught?
That
And
and how many of them think they're never going to get caught, so they're willing to
they're willing to
kind of show their hand a bit
to liven the chase.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But very very I don't know, bold choice to kind of just keep going after that scene at the cabin, after the scene at the thing,
Because there's the chase scene outside.
the chasing outside, and now you have this like fight
Yeah.
at this like warehouse where they blow him up
Yeah.
with a giant turkey full of like flammable gas,
Yeah.
which I think is very funny.
Do they? It is very funny. I forget when the autopsy crew was coming out. Were they? Did they make a comment like body was completely incinerated? Like we couldn't find like.
They go, there was no body left, everything was incinerated.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like,
It could potentially set
you got set up here.
Yeah.
You got plenty of characters still alive.
Yeah.
Because you got the dad still alive, obviously Jess and Scooby.
Yep.
Then now you also have like everybody else who helped.
Right.
So like there is potential here. And I just found out that this movie, so they just cast Patrick Dempsey and Addison Rae, who is like she was one of the friends. I think her name is Gabby, um, who is that friend survived too. Gabby survives too.
The girlfriends in here are too hard to tell apart.
They're all like your basic white girl.
They all look the same.
They do.
Yeah. There's not even a token blonde one.
There's. I guess I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right. Like those two were like the first characters cast, and this was in February.
Oh wow!
So they cast in February, shot in March.
So they got this shit.
This shit done, lickety split.
Yeah.
And that is including an actor strike in the middle of this.
Well, here's the thing: I didn't know about this movie. I feel like until recently, and I was like, "Oh, when the fuck is this coming out next year?" And I was like, "Oh shit! Like,
it's here.
It's out today."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if they really want to make this if they want to make this into a new like Saw-like franchise,
yeah,
where you can get a new installment every year or every 2 years, like they could do it. I don't know that they should. I don't know that I want them to.
I don't want them to.
I'd be okay with a sequel. I would want closure on like for sure is this guy dead or not.
Oh,
I feel like leaving it open ended will always leave you with that possibility.
I don't even need that. Like, I think I gave this movie 3 stars. I could go 3.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it like it's fitting for Thanksgiving. I feel like Thanksgiving's a great holiday because like its ceiling isn't really that high, but it's like very easy to meet that ceiling, right? In this movie, I'm like, I feel like it did. I feel like it did what it could do.
Fair, but like I don't know. I feel like every holiday has gotten like its fair share of like horror movies now.
Yeah.
All right. So Halloween has a lot. Christmas has a lot.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving really only has this and that awful Thanksgiving movie with the evil turkey, who like just goes like, "Nice dick, bitch."
I have not seen that movie.
Oh, I think
I think we need more Thanksgiving media in general.
I hate to say it, but I think you would really like Thanksgiving.
Would I?
I think you would.
Yeah.
This turkey strikes me as very much a Crazy Nights Adam Sandler vibe.
Hey, man. You recommend one movie to a...
But I feel like that's the vibe. I don't know. And I'm honestly surprised if this movie had come out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It would have gotten shit on by critics.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact that this movie is rated as high as it is kind of insane to me.
Well, critics aren't like Roger Ebert anymore. I mean, those people still exist. Not Roger Ebert. He's dead. But, like, the ones you write for, like, the Tribunes still exist. But, like, critics now, by and large, are, like, fucking people our age.
Yeah.
Like, we've got Twitter accounts.
Fair.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of good, though, because I think this movie, even though, yes, I know a lot of people would have wanted this to come out, 16 years ago, I think it's for the better that it took this long.
Yeah.
I only would like to see it do better at the box office. And honestly, I don't know, after Thanksgiving itself, I don't know how much leg is going to have here.
No.
But who knows? I think maybe having the week of Thanksgiving would help.
Napoleon's coming out this week, right?
Yeah, but that's a completely different niche.
It is, but I feel like the people. I mean, when we went to see the movie, like there was a
surprising amount of people at that.
I feel like the people wanted to see that movie and who would like that kind of movie saw
and
the movie
for peasant seats.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't know because I think it's also like something about content programming because like you could go with like the whole family to see a movie in the theater and you can be like, all right, the kids are gonna go watch Wish.
Right.
The dads are gonna go watch Napoleon.
Yeah.
What are the cool teens gonna do?
They're gonna watch Thanksgiving.
They're gonna watch Thanksgiving.
Perhaps.
So maybe I don't think it, and that also doesn't need to. It's only got $15 million budget.
Yeah.
So probably pretty close to being even.
It's funny. We're about to review another movie, which I think is significantly worse than this movie.
Yeah.
But on paper, that movie should have been the one to be in theaters.
Yeah, and I got some thoughts. I got some thoughts about the next movie. So, speaking of which, we are going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you, everybody, for watching the movie or for listening to our show. Hopefully, you watch the movie.
Hopefully, you watch the movie, and hopefully, you stick around for today's holiday-themed question.
Ooh.
Which is?
That's true. I forgot this is a holiday.
Yeah. As someone who knows nothing about football.
Oh.
Well, you don't know nothing about football, but, like, it's not your thing.
Yeah.
So every year, the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys play a Thanksgiving Day game. Okay. Every year. Those two teams. And then other teams. But
why those two?
That's the question. You could pick other cities, right? That you think the world should just, like, turn their attention to on Thanksgiving every other year. Instead of Detroit and Dallas. Who do you think it should be? Not the teams, per se.
That is so weird.
Yeah,
why did
like broke-ass Detroit, Republican-ass Texas? Pick somewhere else. Even if they don't have any whole teams.
What is a team from New England that is not the fucking Patriots?
The Patriots. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
There's nothing else?
Yeah. So we got the Patriots and who else?
Let's go Seahawks.
Why? Why do we need to see Seattle on Thanksgiving?
I just feel like, I don't know, when I think of, it's the closest I guess I get to get, like, that side over there.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Other side of the country?
Other side of the country. Encompass the whole thing, which I think, Dallas, Detroit, top and bottom.
Yeah.
Top side to side.
Yeah. So, top and bottom, side to side. I like that. So I won't answer that question, but I'll say my idea is you take the team who lost their Thanksgiving game, and as punishment, you make them play in the next Thanksgiving game the following year. Because people are like, it's unfair that the Detroit Lions every year have to play in Thanksgiving. Like, these fucking players are on this team.
Oh, boo-hoo!
That's what I'm saying.
They're only making millions of dollars to play on Thanksgiving.
All I'm saying
boo fucking
I think that would be great. The incentive to do extra well in the Thanksgiving game
to not
is to not fucking have to play on Thanksgiving next
year.
Wait,
okay, so hold on. So you're saying, so you have 2 games, let's say. How many games do you have?
3.
On 3 games.
3. Yeah, it's Detroit is in one, Dallas is in another, And then, yes.
So they don't play against each other.
No.
Oh.
No. And then there's a third game, prime time, right? I say you take those 3 games.
The loser
from each one has to play again next year on Thanksgiving.
Damn, that's good.
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Good question, friend. All right. Well, that's worth sticking around for.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for listening. Please remember to share. We are, I'm pretty sure it's not just us because I haven't listened to a lot of our new episodes because I'm a little behind.
Yeah.
But we're still getting some views, some listens, so that's good.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Fans.
Share with your friends.
Yes.
That's your Christmas present to us.
Yes.
Spread the word of Thanksgiving.
Spread the word.
Spread the word of Christmas.
Spread the love. Spread the turkey legs.
We will be back with another episode very soon.
Until then. He has been Javier.
He has been Thano. And this has been the Cine-Scoots Movie Show. Bye.
Bye.